Hello and welcome to another episode of Metal Detecting with Lugnut. I don't have a dig for you today, so I thought I'd go over how I make my videos. Try to keep them simple and short and low budget. I've managed to do this in a couple ways. I managed to get my videoing device for free at a tech fair where I won the iPad mini that I used to video as a door prize. I had not made videos prior to that. I just shot stills with a camera that I'll show you in a minute, and just kept a photo record of my finds on a blog, which is posted in my description. I've been a photographer for about 43 years. There's a link in the description to some of my photography. And so I use Photoshop for the manipulation of images, the stills that I composite after I clean them, and I use Adobe Premiere for the compositing of the videos into putting the clips together with the text and the stills. And I'll show you a little bit of that when we go up to the office. Fortunately for me, the work that I do allows me to have access to both of those pieces of software without any additional cost to me. So that's pretty handy. So I'm going to go upstairs, we'll look at the computer for a minute, and I'll show you some things, and I'll show you a couple other things that I do as well. So see you upstairs. Here's my iPad mini. Put this star up here to remind me where the camera on the other side is. And you can see here it's got the Google Drive and photos and the camera, which is primarily what I use on this thing. I did buy a case, protective case for it, which is really nice. And it is very tough. There's the camera on the other side. We'll stand. But it's tough to carry around, and it works really well. You can take the case off and clean it after it gets some dirt on it. And again, I won that at a tech fair, so it was free, which is the best kind of equipment. This is my Nikon S9900 that I use for my stills. This is a really nice camera. It has an awesome macro feature, which is what I take pictures of the coins and relics with prior to their compositing in Photoshop. It's a really nice item. Okay, now we're in the office. So as I said, I shoot with the iPad mini. I take my clips and I push them to Google Drive using the Google Drive app. So here they are on Google Drive. Then I download them from Google Drive to my computer, where I then process, or I put them into a file structure based on each episode, and every element of that episode goes into that folder. The raw clips, the raw stills, and then eventually the final product will also be saved to that folder. I use Photoshop to composite the stills, crop, and any correction that is required. And I save them out at about 1080p or 1080 pixels at 300 pixels per inch, RGB, and I usually save them as a PNG file because I find that they have a little better quality because they're not a compressed file, or at least I don't compress them. And I take all the elements and put them into Premiere. You can see there on the bottom left the file structure of all the episodes. The files that you see are the files from the episode about the 1898 house. And there's the timeline, and it shows you the individual clips. You can see them in sections. They have a pretty straightforward cross dissolve between each clip, and the pink things are either text or a still image that I finish off with a film dissolve. And that's pretty much it. After you've got your video edited and rendered, then you put it into Adobe Encoder and crunch it for YouTube. Then you go to your YouTube channel and upload it and do all the descriptions and stuff. And that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to show you just a couple little things that I do out in the field that may be a little different than what other folks are doing. Here's more of my gear. You got your standard digging tool, pouch, the older style pinpointer. Someday I'll get the carrot. Got the shovel, which is super nice, and for us older people, nice garden knee pad, which not only saves your kneecaps, it keeps your pants cleaner and drier in case you're out in not the greatest weather. I got a little day pack. I don't even remember where I got this. Extra batteries. There's my sharpshooter coil is in here. My extra headphones are the original headphones now that I use that wireless Z-Link. Got a bag in case I dig a big hole and have to put the dirt on something other than somebody's yard. Front pocket, got the sprays and a magnifying glass, which is always nice to have. And the other side has backup batteries in case my recharging battery doesn't, my rechargeable for the Garrett AT Pro goes out. I have some extras. And that's about it. That's what I carry on every hunt. Pretty useful stuff. I have a good time with it. It's a great hobby. Here's a toothbrush. This one's new. I haven't used this one yet, but I have one like this in my bag. You may notice that the bristles are really short, because what I do with them is I take a pair of scissors and I cut them down to half length. And what that does is it stiffens them a lot. So instead of wiping with your fingers until your fingers are dirty and you end up just smearing dirt back over your coin, you can give it a nice little stiff brush, clean it off, good to go. Here's another item that I made. It's wood. It looks like a pointed stick, and that's kind of what it is. This is gum. We have a lot of gum trees down in Carolina, which gets super, super hard when it's cured. And what I thought I'd do with this, and I haven't tested it in the field yet, is to dig out some of those coins that you don't want to scratch. Instead of putting a metal shovel into a hole after you've opened it up, you could do some digging with this, and if you were to hit something that was shiny, be less likely to scratch it with wood than you would with your metal digging implement. I have not seen any plastic ones that I thought were particularly good. And again, this is free. I make walking sticks. This is a scrap from an old walking stick. So as I test this out, I'll give you some results on this one. In keeping with the low budget theme, I don't have a fines box. I think a lot of the guys use fishing tackle boxes that they put foam in. I got all these Altoid boxes. I don't even remember where I got them all. But I glue some foam in them, and they work pretty well. Keep things from getting broken. I've broken a few things. But that's just another cheap method of protecting your stuff as you find it, especially the good things. Here's the wrap up for this episode. I hope you found something useful in what I presented here today. And since this is the first day of spring, let me know what differences that you see between the opening and this closing. Other than that, thanks for watching. Come back next week, hopefully next week, and hopefully we'll also be looking at what's under the grass. Bye for now.